work on your mindset every day in the morning because all the battles are here.
Yeah.
No battles are out there, right? Whether you're looking for opportunities or whether you're a professional, is be easy to work with. I think there's a myth that the higher you go, you should be tougher to work with, and only then the job will get done. I think those days are passé, all right?
Yeah.
You need to be an easy to work with person because that's what which will build trust and credibility. That's what builds credibility first and hence trust. You don't discover talent anymore, you grow talent. You invest and you grow talent. And this is a change I'm seeing across consulting and across companies. And hence you see companies which have been there for 20 years, 30 years, they're kind of stuck. But there are newer companies which have become unicorns.
What you said about growing talent is no longer hired or taken in. It's actually grown in-house. And I think that's a very powerful statement to make.
The way a person handles people, I will always rate dignity and respect. It's for humanity, but most of our leaders, because then you are in the service of taking care of people who are with you, trying to solve something for you, for the company, for the business, and for customers and stakeholders, shareholders, so on and so forth.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Coffee and Careers Season 2. Thank you for all the love and response to our first 2 episodes of the season. Your messages and reflections truly keep this show brewing. Thank you for that. And today the coffee gets even richer. Joining me is someone who has spent his career not just building talent ecosystems, but practically architecting them. The brilliant Jonathan D'Souza. Jonathan has held extensive HR leadership roles across diverse industries and has worked closely with business and people transformation agendas. His experience gives him a very unique vantage point on how careers evolve, how talent thrives, and what truly separates those who grow consistently from those who get stuck. And in today's episode, we're going to unpack a lot of things like how to stay visible, relevant, and hard to ignore at work, how to make bold career moves without losing sleep or sanity, and the people leadership traits that matter in any decade and in any industry. So grab your coffee, settle in, and let's dive into another insightful conversation. Jonathan, a very warm welcome from all of us at Positive Vibes.
Thank you, Shivani, and thank you for that introduction. I think if I keep reading every day, I'll become more motivated myself, and it's a pleasure talking to you. Thank you for inviting me. I'm grateful.
Likewise, always great to be in conversation with leaders like you. So we'll begin the podcast, as is the ritual, with some fun rapid fire questions, and then we ease into the more serious conversation that follows. So my first question to you, Jonathan, is what's one career advice that you wish the 22-year-old Jonathan had heard?
So one advice when I look back, I think I learned a little late is to work on mindset. I think that's something which I wish I had a mentor or a coach or someone who could just say, yaar, duniya ko bhul jao. Work on your mindset every day in the morning because all the battles are here. No battles are out there, right? And I learned it maybe at the age of 34, 35, much later. And I went through a lot of health issues, ups and downs to reach there. But today, if I had to speak about it, I keep telling people that work on mindset. That's it. Everything else will come.
Superb. And I think it's all in the mind, stays true to that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Great. Nice answer. Okay. So, Jonathan, my second question, if you were caught on your best work day, what would that day look like for you?
Yeah, so a lot of people who work with me know that I have a really bad sense of humor, which means, I have jokes in my mind which go on 24/7 and I crack them irrespective of whether people laugh or don't laugh.
Okay.
Right? So maybe 7 on 10, they're bad jokes. 3 on 10, they're good jokes because that's a habit, right? So on a normal good work day, you'll see the people around me huddling just to hear some wise, witty ones or some stupid jokes, and I'm connected. Because of that, I'm connected to people. I'm in the trenches. And hence, because of that, I'm able to actually look at business issues or solve business challenges or opportunities, right? So on a good day, you will see a lot of laughter around me and we are solving some good challenges at work. That's what defines a good day for me.
Awesome. So the happiness quotient is for real. It's
Yeah,
not
absolutely, yes.
it's not just a buzzword. Great, superb. That's quite a happy answer. Okay, last question in the rapid fire category. If you could borrow one skill from someone on your team, what would you choose?
So one thing which I've been trying a lot and trying to borrow a lot, I've had reverse mentors for it as well, is trying to switch off.
Okay.
Find it fairly difficult to switch off. Probably I'm a 6 on 10 now, maybe a 2 on 10 earlier. But switching off is something I've not learned. So it's something I need to inculcate. I admire the youngsters and the way they can, just switch off from work, go for a party, have their life, come back the next day, switch on to work, and do it on a daily basis. I think that's something very, very important to learn because living life is also very, very important.
Yeah.
And that's something I'm working on.
Absolutely. I think you made a very valid point. I think the switching on part, a lot of people in our generation, the millennial generation, I think we struggle with that because I think as a concept, when we were growing up, there was never a concept of switching off. Everything moved in a certain schedule probably or a certain and the switching off was when we used to play sports or watch TV for that limited time, probably. And so I think it's also in the mindset. And this is something that I've heard from a lot of people of this generation that we do find it difficult to switch off. So,
Yeah, yeah. I blame it on Hotel California. We all grew up to listening to Hotel California. You can check in whenever you like, but you can never leave, right?
yeah.
So that's just played in. It's always playing in the mind.
Yeah, I thought you said you have a bad sense of humor. I don't think so. That's a good punchy one.
Thank you for that. I told you, right? One or two will click.
Yeah.
I need to do 10 though, so
Okay.
you'll have to edit those.
Okay. Looking forward to the rest of the eight. Okay. Great. So let's get into some core conversation now, Jonathan. So, you're someone who's seen HR both from the consulting lens and from the inside of an organization. So you've sort of sat on both sides of the table. So when we talk about talent, looking from both the lenses, what's that one belief about talent that changed for you along the way? How do you think the talent has changed if you look at both, from both the lenses?
Yeah, so a couple of insights which I've learned is, when we look back, earlier talent was defined by competencies.
Right.
Today, we define talent by skills. I don't think competencies are fairly relevant anymore. Yes, you need competencies to make a person successful in a particular role, but when the role changes, the competencies change, and hence skills matter more than competencies more than ever. And hence, I've learned that in today's world, that talent is super fungible.
Hmm.
So I see a lot of leaders who say, I need people from X industry, Y industry. And, that's the holy grail where actually talent can move from place A to place B to place C. And talent evolves really fast. And
Yeah.
the level of which talent is evolving is now the way, microprocessors evolved way back. The speed is doubling, right? And hence, creating the right ecosystem, you don't discover talent anymore, you grow talent. You invest and you grow talent. And this is a change I'm seeing across consulting and across companies. And hence, you see companies which have been there for 20 years, 30 years, they're kind of stuck. But there are newer companies which have become unicorns.
Yeah.
And that's because the belief of talent has changed drastically. And the newer companies are using models which are relevant for today's times. Where earlier, while the older set of organizations which are trying to protect rather than evolve are using talent models which are outdated, right? So the talent is evolving so fast that the models are not relevant to handle that talent anymore.
Correct.
And you can see with youngsters, you can see, young leaders becoming billionaires, doing well, having their own journeys, and
Yeah.
it's such a fantastic lesson to learn. At the same time, I also see people on the other side of 50 who are super evolutionary, who are great at learning. My ex-boss, Rajesh Padmanabhan, is one of the prime examples of how you can evolve, right?
Yes.
Just by staying relevant and having that learning agility where you can evolve. So talent has no age, for sure. Talent has no age. But, the evolution is important, and can we build newer uh, frameworks, new models to nurture this talent, that's more critical in today's world.
Absolutely. I think that's a very good point that you made that the models that used to work a few years back probably may not work. And what you said about growing talent, talent is no longer hired or taken in. It's actually grown in-house. And I think that's a very powerful statement to make because if you see organizations that are doing well, that are consistently growing year to year, the unicorns that we talk about, you just spoke about them. There is one conversation that I remember of a unicorn founder who said that the only reason I could scale up my organization and reach where I am today is because my team was stable. And I did not see, luckily, I did not see any changes, especially in the founding team. So that's how important growing talent internally is. It definitely has a direct impact on the bottom line and the top line, and there are so many examples today of that. And
I also want to add to it saying that, where do these words of growing versus talent is scarce come from, right? If you don't grow, you're going to face scarcity, and
yeah,
hence you're going to go to war, right? But
yeah,
if you're able to grow, and when
yeah,
I say grow, I'm saying even if you hire people,
yeah,
you need to learn to grow them because that's only when they'll stay, right? So
absolutely.
the way these words appear to us is because, I mean, if a leader doesn't grow his talent or her talent, you're going to face scarcity for sure. And it's the same for companies, the same for organizations, right?
Yeah,
So the ability to create an ecosystem where you can nurture, grow is so important in today's world because there are a lot of people and
yeah,
yet we face talent challenges. It's an ironic situation we are in.
absolutely, absolutely.
Sorry, over to you.
Yeah, and you're so right. I mean, we have the numbers in our country, the most populous nation in the world, but
Absolutely.
I think we're one of the nations that faces huge scarcity when it comes to the right talent.
And we are exporting a lot of talent globally,
Of course, that's the brain drain is for real. It's for real.
right? So we
Yeah.
live in a very ironic, we live in a world of duality,
Yeah.
right? So it's very funny
Yeah.
because we've got so much of talent. I mean,
Yes.
I do a lot of study on startups and, look at
Yeah.
nobody can beat our 10-minute model, 15-minute model. I hope we are able to do that in healthcare
Yeah.
and, importantly, but nevertheless, at least there's a model which we can replicate in healthcare
Yeah.
because no country in the world can look at how we have utilized talent to get people to live with more ease, right?
Yeah.
Now, can we scale that up to healthcare and things like that? I think the framework exists. So India will definitely look to leverage on these things, which other countries cannot do it.
Yeah, yeah, and I think that's the reason why we are sort of opening up to new work models as well, where we know that, for example, fractional CHRO. It was something that was unheard of a few years back, but now you see so many companies are doing it because the talent scarcity is for real. And when I can't get somebody, of that level, I'm okay to sort of hire somebody who's coming in for a limited time but is able to add value to what I want. So I think it's really changed the landscape and the mindset of a lot of people within HR and business as well. Great. Jonathan, coming to careers. Now, we're in a world where careers are more zigzag rather than a steep climb. So how can, in such a scenario, how can people make a bold move, like a role change or a new industry, without feeling that they are starting from zero again? And in this context, you gave example of Rajesh Padmanabhan. He was also one of our guests in actually both the seasons. And he's, I think, one living example of career pivots. And he had interesting insights to share about his journey. But would love to know from you, how do you think somebody can make that or take that leap of faith?
See, I think all of us approach a move as a bold move, right? And that's the first fear. As soon as you say, "Chalo, kuch bold kare," can we do something bold? It's many people will not have a risk appetite, and
Yeah.
hence the ability to jump or leap won't happen. And I simplify it and saying that yeah, the first thing you do is lift your hand internally.
Hmm.
There are so many roles internally where
Yeah.
you can just put your hand up, and the internal ecosystem knows you well. So
Yeah.
first start internally, right? But
Right.
before you even put up your hand, first learn to take on newer challenges in your current organization, in your current role. It could be functional, within the function or intra-functional, or You could just do two roles, right? Without thinking of will I get paid more. And I'll tell you why you need to do this. Because that builds muscle memory. We
Yeah.
forget that to build confidence, we need to do something very regularly, and hence building muscle memory is very important. So start building muscle memory first,
Hmm.
and automatically you will be identified for switches, you'll be identified for internal roles. And in internal roles, nobody wants to see you fail
Yeah.
because a lot is at stake, right?
Yes.
Compared to you trying to switch from company A to company B, where you do not know the ecosystem and the chances of failure could be higher,
Yeah.
but you'll start succeeding internally a lot. I've been fortunate as well. I've led IT in one of my organizations, apart from my HR role. I've led sales analytics as well. And this happens only because you're ready to put up your hand saying, I'll do it, right? And the last part is importantly, in a VUCA world, there's no right answer. That's the best part,
Yes.
right? So there's no thing that if I'm going to go from point A to point B, this is how I should go. In today's world, going from point to point B itself is a great journey, right? And if you don't have a defined journey, all the more reason you should do it
Yeah.
because there's nobody there to question you, and everybody's looking for somebody to lead. So why not, right? So I think it's a fantastic world we live in here in that sense.
Yeah. And I think, you made a very valid point that look internally first. A lot of people don't even think that. So, when I consult for some organizations where I'm an advisor, so, the one problem that the business or the HR faces is that we don't get to know that, people just resign and people just go, and then we do a conversation with them, and then the problem was very solvable. They were looking for a better role and a better pay. That's what
Absolutely.
most of the people look for, right? That's why they change jobs. So I think a lot of people just what we say as silent quitting, it's for real. And it's very, very prevalent now, I think. Of course, some role HR also has to play there where you probably don't know the pulse of the people. But I think even on the if I were to flip the tables, I think the other side is also equally responsible. I don't think we explore as much within the organizations. And in today's day and age, I think organizations themselves are looking for people who can be moved across different verticals, and that's where the growing talent part comes, like you mentioned. So I think that's a very powerful takeaway from this question. Jonathan, you've seen experience. You've experienced. Different professionals at different stages of their careers. Now, tell me, when you look at someone's growth trajectory, what is a subtle indicator that they will continue to rise and not plateau? What's that one thing that defines somebody's career trajectory?
Okay, so before I answer that, moving ahead, please call me John.
Okay.
Right? Jonathan sounds very, very alien. I wish I could just shorten my name,
Okay.
but nobody ever now calls me Jonathan. Even sometimes I also forget how to pronounce that word now.
Okay.
Right? And so I have to also
Okay.
keep reminding myself this is how my name is pronounced. But nevertheless, coming back to your question, I think very, very clearly there are two or three things I look at, right? And in today's world, I look at how fast can this individual learn. I think learning agility
Hmm.
is the magic wand in today's world. The second thing, without which you cannot go anywhere, you cannot go any place, is risk appetite, right? You need to develop a very, very good risk appetite.
Yeah.
If you don't have a risk appetite, you could have all the skills, you could have all the right network and ecosystem, but because you don't have a risk appetite, you will not take that leap.
Yeah.
You will not trust yourself to take that leap. And
Correct.
I'm saying trust yourself, believe in yourself, right?
Yeah.
And you have to have a risk appetite. Now, linked to risk appetite, the third one is humility with hunger. You need to be humble. You need to say that look, I'm going to take a risk. Things can go wrong, but
Yeah.
things can also go right. And you need to be humble enough to reach out for help,
Yeah.
right? So humility and hunger, I put them in the same boat because you have to be hungry. At the same time, you have to keep your eyes and ears open, saying that when I take that jump, who are the people who can, who I can reach out to and who will be the safety net for me? Because today's world is so different from when we grew up. It's not competitive anymore. It's super collaborative,
Yeah.
and hence you need to reach out to people, be vulnerable, uh, tell people that I don't know where I'm headed, but these are things I'm doing. Can you guide me? Can you, and people are very, very helpful.
Yeah.
You just have to ask, right? So these three things, four, but I'm saying hunger and humility have to come together because hunger and ego can destroy a lot of things.
Absolutely. I think the humility part that you mentioned, I would probably rate that as the first one, because unless and until you're humble to reach out, there's a very old adage saying that the more you grow, the more a tree grows and bears fruits, the more it bends. So the more you grow in your career, it's said in
Oh,
Hindi.
I'm getting goosebumps, and I'll tell you why.
Yeah.
And I never actually I was thinking of this, and I was just wondering when will I speak about this, and you brought it up. So I was in a function of where a 75-year-old famous restaurateur from Mumbai was talking about how he became successful, right? And he spoke about the higher you go, the more you have to bend. And uh, he gave it such a lovely example. He's saying that, we are, as human beings, we are built to serve
Yeah.
at every level, right? And the higher you go, the more you have to serve. And he said that you cannot serve if you cannot bend,
Very true.
right? And I'm getting goosebumps as I answer it because imagine a 75-year-old saying that even today, I am happy to serve because I know the moment I think of serving, I will bend. And the moment I bend, it doesn't matter who's in front of me. It could be the lowest rung of society, or it could be the highest, does not matter.
Right.
Now, that coming from someone who's lived his life without a formal education in a very successful restaurant chain was, I mean, that was a learning for me, and that has stayed with me. And you brought it up today.
Yeah.
And as leaders, it's very important to say that it's not about me. It's about the business and it's about the people I serve, whether it's a customer, the stakeholder, my employees, or anybody else, right? And hence, the higher you go, it's so important to keep that service attitude alive, because leaders don't find answers.
Yeah.
Leaders find the direction. The answers are found on the front lines always,
Yeah. Wow. You said it. The answers are with the front line. You have to
always.
front line towards those answers. That's the role of a leader, not find answers yourself. How beautiful. I think that's a big one.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I completely believe in it. It resonates with me. And hence, it's very important as you grow higher, and I'm saying higher as in hierarchy,
Yeah.
the more responsibilities and accountabilities come on your table, the more you have to be at the front lines. It's not
Right.
sitting in the office where you're going to solve
Oh,
things on an Excel sheet. You can create direction with an Excel sheet, but the execution is what will happen on the front lines. Battles are won on the front lines. They're plotted in the war rooms.
absolutely. And I think the point that you made around learning agility, I think that's also very relevant in today's times when we are seeing so many mass layoffs happening. I think in today's time, there is no other way to grow than to keep yourself agile in terms of learning and constantly updating, upgrading yourself. I think moving with the times. We used to talk about when COVID hit in. We used to talk since then. We have to keep ourselves relevant. We have to keep upskilling ourselves, and I think people who've acted on it have seen the sunny side of their careers, but people unfortunately who haven't been able to keep up with it are the ones who are probably bearing brunt. So it is that important now to
Super important.
yeah, and I think it is no longer a good to have skill. Like when I started my career, it was a good to have skill if you were being you're learning constantly. Now I think it is one of the mandatory skills. One of
Absolutely.
the competencies that you have to have learning agility. There is no other way that you can survive in today's world. So I totally agree with that. John, you just spoke about leaders showing the direction, and now you've worked with leaders across different cultures and styles. So, what's that one people leadership trait that you feel never gets out of fashion, no matter how much the world changes?
So, for me, the best leaders, if I look at them and when people talk about them, it's not about success. It's not about success and failure. It's about dignity and respect. I think if a leader has great dignity and respect towards people, success, failure, those are parcels of life. But, the way a person handles people,
Yeah.
I will always rate dignity and respect. It's for humanity, but most of our leaders, because then you are in the service of taking care of people who are with you, trying to solve something for you, for the company, for the business, and for customers and stakeholders, shareholders, so on and so forth.
Right.
But the way people handle tough conversations with dignity and respect, I think, I pay a lot of attention to that. And a lot of my decisions come from looking at, does this person treat everybody with dignity and respect? It could be also giving bad feedback, but it can be given with dignity and respect, right? Because the moment you hurt somebody's dignity and respect, you will tend to break that person. And hence, you can do anything to anybody, but don't hurt somebody's dignity and respect. So I keep repeating this word, but this is the most important skill for the new world, more than ever.
Absolutely.
It's a value, actually.
It is. I think it is.
Right? It's not a skill, it's a value.
It's a value, and I think it's a very personal value. It reflects on the way you have, grown up, how you've treated people around you, and in fact, I personally believe that the way a leader. You can tell about a leader's people skills by the way he talks to the junior most staff in the office. The office boys, the housekeeping. I think that's the litmus test for me. If you can talk to people of that category with dignity and the respect that they deserve, because they're also coming for work to earn a livelihood, just like you and I do, I think that speaks volumes about a person's people skills and leadership skills. So I totally agree. I think forget everything else. I think the first thing that I think a leader that makes a leader stand out from the others is his ability to respect peoples of all genres and of all levels. I think very, very powerful point there. John. I'm going to take some time to transition from that. So we spoke about career transitions, internal as well as external. Now, tell me, even if it is an internal transition, a lot of people have the fear that, fear of getting out of the comfort zone. This role is going to take a lot of my time. I'm not sure whether I have the skills or not. And I see a lot of people holding themselves back and losing on good opportunities. So what's your advice for people to mentally prepare themselves for this kind of, for any kind of a role shift, whether it is a role shift within the organization or if it is an industry shift, or if it is a professional, completely a total switch from what profession they're in? What's your advice on that?
So, like I said earlier, you have to, if you don't learn to take risks, what's happening to a lot of people in layoffs will happen to you somewhere down the line. Nobody is secure. There's no job which is secure in the world. In fact, in today's world and times, the CEO job is the most insecure job you can ever have, right? So what are we talking about, right? So first is build a risk appetite, and you can only build a risk appetite by taking small risks to start with. Small, calculated risks, well thought through. Secondly, I tell people the most important thing is before you even, try to take those roles, build very strong internal networks, right? We talk about networking. So network is not only external, it's also internal. You need external networking, but you need a lot of internal networking because internal networking will get you the right support system.
Yes.
It'll get you the right visibility and it'll get you the right opportunities, right? And third, one of the things which many people, I have experienced this, is, why do people who are silent quitters quit? If you go and ask many people, what is your plan for your career? They have none. And I can tell you this for 80%, 90% of the people. Right? There are only 10% of the people who will have a fairly good career plan. And I'm saying a plan, a direction. I'm not saying it should be written in stone. Right? A lot of us don't pause, put our head down and figure out what is the plan I have for myself, what makes me happy, what gives me energy, what keeps me motivated. And we don't put it down in pen and paper, right? Because we are not clear, our neighbor, our batchmate, our Sharma ji ka beta, Verma ji ki beti becomes the most important. And then we tend to compare ourselves with those names, people, roles, without knowing where are we headed. And that's the confusion we need to first solve for ourselves, right? So start with yourself, then talk about internal, and then take the jump. But if you don't do that internal work, any role is going to create an imposter syndrome for you, and you're going to doubt yourself, right? So the reverse is true. If you know that, okay, I'm okay taking this risk, this role is going to keep me happy, I've got good colleagues around me to hold me for a couple of months, I'm clear that I'm getting energized by this role, it'll work.
Hmm. I think this all boils down to the first thing that you said, the mindset. Uh,
Absolutely.
yeah, I think this all boils down to having a mindset of getting out of the comfort zone. Comfort zone is, I think, not no longer there is any zone known as a comfort zone anymore. It can be a temporary zone that we chill in and we bask in, but if we continue to stay there for a long time, it's going to result into something really, really bad. So I think that's the mantra probably that you need to move out of the comfort zone. And like you said, the risk appetite is extremely important even within a job, even within the job that you're taking. The risk appetite and the excellent point that you made around having internal networks. When we talk about networking, people think that it's all about networking in the outside world, but what about internal networks? And I think
See,
they play a
the
very,
issue,
yeah,
a lot of us start to build networks thinking what will my next job be. But actually, if you think internally, it's
yeah,
also what will your next job be internally. Yeah? I mean,
absolutely,
just apply that internally, and people will reach out to you because you've been able to create that internal network.
yeah,
And even if you don't get the next job internally, you would have created such a good environment for yourself
yeah,
where you know how to solve a problem or grasp a problem faster because you know who are the people, who are the movers and shakers.
yeah.
It's so important, right? It's so important in life.
Yeah. And I think overall it brings you in a lot of credibility. So you tend to get more opportunities internally as well if you have a good
Absolutely,
network
absolutely,
because your credibility
absolutely,
is such. So I think it's
absolutely.
extremely important. Uh,
One thing I missed talking about, whether you're looking for opportunities or whether you're a professional, is be easy to work with.
mm,
I think there's a myth that the higher you go, you should be tougher to work with, and only then the job will get done. I think those days are passé. All
yeah,
right,
yeah,
you need to be an easy to work with person
yeah.
because that's what which will build trust and credit. That's what will build credibility first, and hence trust.
Yes.
Trust is the last, right? I think many of us are somehow we get feedback during our careers that you should learn to say no without putting your foot down, and that's crap. You need to learn to say no. I'm not saying no, but dignity and respect always,
Yeah.
and you need to very very clearly, learn to be easy to work with in a team.
Yeah.
What do I mean? What I'm saying is that don't come only with the questions on the table.
Mm,
Come with a couple of stupid solutions. It's fine.
mm,
At least people see that you're not just being, being throwing a spanner in the works.
yeah.
People need to see you as somebody who's on the side of the solution, not on the side of the problem. You can be naysayer. It's all okay. It's fine. But when you're being a naysayer, are you switching between calling out the problem and also being part of the solution? The more you do that, the more options will come to you.
Yes.
And this is a guarantee from me.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. I think, and with the workforce that we're dealing with, we're dealing with Gen Zs. That is
Absolutely. They are teaching us some fantastic lessons. I'm so happy to work with them.
absolutely. I think there is now no way that that the traditional boss kind of a working can work. Forget growing talent; you won't even get talent if as a leader that's the approach because word gets out very fast now. I mean, whatever you may write on LinkedIn about the company doing all sorts of good things, but let's remember there is a glass door and there are other and Gen Z today has absolutely no qualms in being totally transparent on the way they are treated. And I think what you said around, of course, dignity and respect, yes, but also that you cannot be always, project that difficult, tough boss because I'm a boss, so I have to project tough. I think that's very, very outdated now. And honestly, I pity leaders like that because they don't know how harmful it is for the organization, not just for themselves, but for the entire organization. You have a toxic culture. You don't have people staying there. People are always under, one fear or the other. And
Duress, yeah.
keep having that churning. So it becomes a funnel. You put in people from the top, they keep going from down. So you're always hiring. So HR is always hiring there. So I think, and I have seen those kind of organizations. So absolutely agree with that you should be easy to work with people. But when we say easy, we don't mean to say that be soft or be, absolutely chill. You have to be a taskmaster, yes. But there's a
Absolutely.
nice way of being a taskmaster as well. It doesn't have to be at the cost of,
See, for whatever negatives or whatever tough things you want to say, just add dignity and respect to it. That's your answer.
absolutely.
Right? You can you can sack a person with dignity and respect. You can give tough feedback with dignity and respect. You can put a person in PIP with dignity and respect. You can call out a person with dignity and respect.
Yeah.
You just have to put the extra effort.
Very true. And I
The
think
extra effort is what matters.
absolutely. And
Because people around you are seeing how are you handling that person.
yes. Yes, and I think people, especially in HR, who are able to do that, who are able to do such kind of conversations, but with dignity, with respect for people, actually are the people who are respected at workplace,
Absolutely.
not
Absolutely.
mocked for the things that HR gets mocked for. But there are people like that who have to do tough conversations, feedback conversations, putting people on PIP, but do it in a nice, dignified way. And those are the people who truly get respect at work. So I think
Absolutely.
point there. Great. I wish we could continue, but there is a time constraint. So I'll ask one last fun sign off question with you, John. If your career had one line mantra, that you could give to everyone listening to us today, what would it be?
One line mantra.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So, I think just be consistent with yourself. Very, very important. If you're consistent with yourself, your improvement it's a multiply effect, right? So consistency kills talent. Consistency kills everything else. Just be consistent with yourself, and whatever you do, just be consistent, because consistency will take you places in life. The more consistent you are, it has a compounding effect across all sorts of your life. And as human beings, we like or we connect with people who are consistent in the way they behave, operate, so on and so forth, right? Because there's a comfort which comes with such people. You would not want a person who is inconsistent in the way they behave, act, think, blah, 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 so on and so forth. Try to be as consistent as possible. There will be times when you have to change the pattern, and that's fine, right? That's absolutely fine. There's no problem with that, right? But just remember this every day in the morning. Am I consistent to myself before I'm consistent to the world?
Superb. I think consistency is the mantra, and we're going to end the episode with that C along with the other C, which is the coffee. Thank you so much, John, for stirring up such brilliant insights. Careers.
I just want to tell you one thing on coffee, that I'm a chai person, and so for me, so that's another C, and it's cutting chai, right? And I'll tell you, I get very confused with coffee. Other than filter coffee, I don't understand any coffees, but cutting chai is something which I love because one, it's warm, it's refreshing, and you need to have it with different sorts of people to enjoy that experience, right?
Yeah.
There are people who have cutting chai in the Swiss Alps just for that experience, right? So that's something which I completely resonate on. That's me,
sure.
Right? It's a sense of togetherness that humne chai piya tha.
Is that a Mumbaiker in you speaking? Is that
absolutely?
Yes,
absolutely.
The moment you said the word cutting chai, it's so Mumbaiker, and I can relate to that because I've studied in Pune, and in that intense MBA, 2 years of intense MBA, the only break, and we used to really look forward to it, was going outside for a cutting chai to the tapri. So can so much relate to those emotions that that one can see on your face the moment the word chai comes. And I'm so glad I did not ask you this question, that what is your favorite kind of coffee, because I wouldn't have gotten an answer. Probably I would have asked you, then what's your favorite kind of chai? Is it adrak? Is it masala? Is it whatever? But yes, the chai also comes with a different C. So it's another C. But thank you so much, John, for a very fun conversation. And I think a conversation that was loaded with lots of learning and value add for the listeners today. Chats like this, remember, they help us remember a simple truth, that growth isn't just about climbing up. It's about staying, curious, staying adaptable, consistent, like you said, and genuinely connected to the humans around us in the world of AI, I would say. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure, interacting with you today. And to
thank you, Shivani. I had fun. Good, light-hearted conversation.
Yeah,
something which definitely has made my day, right? And I've had fun.
Great. Thank you so much. And we're going to have you back on our seasons. We're notorious for that. When we get somebody and we really like that person in one season, we do get that person back on our, on our subsequent season. So we're definitely going to have you back.
Thank you.
And to all our amazing listeners, if today's episode gave you even one, that aha moment that you can take back to work tomorrow or on Monday, since we're sitting on Friday, then surely our caffeine fueled mission is accomplished. So don't forget to drop your reflections, your DMs, your comments. We love to reply to them. And stay tuned because season 2 has some absolutely mind blowing voices like the one you heard today coming your way. So until next time, keep your coffee strong or chai strong, whatever you like, your conversations even stronger, and your career graph rising one sip at a time. Thank you very much.